Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of WP the Podcast. I'm David Blackman.
And I'm Tim Streifler.
And this is day 5 of AirPod Pro Audio, brought to you by Apple, which, please forgive me for the next 5 episodes. How many plugins are too many plugins for your WordPress website? This is a question that I don't think ever gets asked enough, especially with new people that come into WordPress. They find out the power of WordPress, and then they discover these, how did I define it? Magical pieces of amazingness that lets you do awesome stuff on your website called plugins. That's the official definition that Tim and I are pushing, and we're pushing to Matt Mullenweg to put in the repository for the new definer. But when you find these little nuggets, we start installing them on our WordPress website. And if you're new and you don't really know, much about WordPress or plugins or the repository or how things work, you just start adding things on and throwing them in there, because you can. And my thing is just because you can do it, just because you can put 100 plugins on your website doesn't necessarily mean you should. So, Tim, you want to expound on how many plugins are too many?
I think there's not a magical number by any means, but I think it's important to understand what plugins are, right? Plugins is just the mechanism of adding code, adding functionality to your site, right? You can also add code functionality to your site through a custom theme or through a child theme. Plugins just make it really nicely packaged to be able to do, whatever it is the plugin's going to do. But at the end of the day, plugins are adding code, right? And so there's things to consider, right? Like you could have 30 really small, simple plugins that, aren't going to really make an impact on your site. And then you could also have one giant plugin that's maybe coded not so great and is doing a ton of different things and adding all this code, and and that might make a huge impact on your site and the way it loads and performs and everything. So it's more about how much code is this plugin adding? What is it doing? What type of functionality is it adding? And is it built well? Is it made by a trustworthy developer? Do they know what they're doing? Are they updating it, keeping it updated and bug-free, and fixing conflicts with other plugins? So you have to kind of understand the way that plugins work to really answer that question, because there's not some magical answer of, it's 9 plugins. After that, your WordPress website's going to load slowly. No, because like David and I, we have e-commerce sites, high traffic, a lot of functionality. I don't remember how many plugins I have, but I have dozens and dozens of plugins that are all necessary to do different things, to power the online store, to power the licensing system, the affiliate program, right? All these different things that are happening. But we're really careful on the plugins that we add to make sure they're good plugins. We test them thoroughly, and we only add them if we really need them. And once we no longer need them, we ditch them, right? Because we don't want any code added to the site that doesn't need to be there. Some plugins will only add code to like the back end, right? Because it's like adding some sort of back end functionality. Other plugins will only load code on the front end. And so, and then some plugins that are really well built, kind of more modern plugins, they'll only load code on the front end when you're using that thing on that specific page. So for example, like a form plugin, you might have a form that's only on one page of your site. It's like, well, you really don't want all of that code that the form plugin installs to be loaded on every page of your site. You only need it on that one page where you actually have the form. So those are things to kind of think about when you're wondering, how many plugins are too many for a WordPress website? Well, it's not about the number. It's about the quality. It's about whether or not you need them. It's about how much code they're adding and all of that. So it's not an easy question to answer, and there's not really an exact answer. And it depends on your site. If you have a small brochure style website, well, you shouldn't really have a whole lot of plugins or a whole lot of code added to your site, because there's not a lot that's happening. It's just design, styling, layout. You're not doing a whole lot of functionality that you're going to need a bunch of plugins or a bunch of code added. Did I miss anything, David?
I don't think so. I think you took all the words out of my mouth, Tim. Dang it, man. I barely got to talk this
I know.
episode. But you know what? That's okay. Tim does a really good job, a great job with a lot of the technical topics and stuff and covering them. So there you go. Tomorrow we've got another great topic. Let's see here. Do I need to know how to code, if I can speak English today, to build a WordPress website? Until tomorrow, we'll see you then.
Take care. Bye-bye.